I'm Kristen Welker at the White House. In an appeal to some of his most ardent supporters, evangelicals, President Trump today demanding that governors allow places of worship to open immediately all across the country.
The governors need to do the right thing and allow these very important, essential places of faith to open right now for this weekend.
Arguing those locations are essential.
Some governors have deemed liquor stores and abortion clinics as essential, but have left out churches and other houses of worship. It's not right.
But unlike liquor stores, people typically gather in large numbers and for an extended period of time at houses of worship, increasing the risk of spreading the virus. And in a reversal of his claim that it is up to governors to reopen their states, the president now insists he has the ultimate authority.
If they don't do it, I will override the governors. In America, we need more prayer, not less.
Under the Constitution, a president cannot override a governor's police powers.
The president said he's going to override the governors. Under what authority would he do that?
Well, I think you're posing a hypothetical, and I think we can all hope that we see governors.
He would override the governors.
Well, I think you're posing a hypothetical.
The White House press secretary then accused reporters of wanting houses of worship to stay closed, prompting this exchange.
I object to that. I mean, I go to church. I'm dying to go back to church. The question that we're asking you and would like to have asked the president and Dr. Birx is it safe?
It is safe to reopen your churches if you do so in accordance with the guidelines.
The CDC just releasing those guidelines today after they were delayed amid a battle with the White House accusing the CDC of being too restrictive. The recommendations suggest people wear cloth face coverings, enhance cleaning, social distance, and limit shared materials. Also tonight, the largest study yet of the controversial drug hydroxychloroquine, an anti-malaria drug the president has touted and taken. Despite no evidence yet, it prevents COVID-19. The sweeping study of more than 96,000 patients with COVID found there was a 34% increase in risk of death for patients who took the drug and a 130% increased risk of serious heart arrhythmia. The president has consistently tested negative for the virus and remained defiant just this week.
You know the expression I've used, John? What do you have to lose?
Kristen Welker, NBC News, the White House.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.